Hang on. I've actually got the stats up here. No, shut up. I'm coming. No. Let me talk. I know that you're already not paying attention to me now, you bloody Zoomer fucking... There's a reason you're called Zoomers. You're all over the place. But look at this, right? I got up the Gen Z stats. This is great. I've got a bunch of videos just out of this one little corporate profile that my sick producer Karen set up for me. He's a king. He's awesome. But he got this thing of just like how the corporate sector sees you as a generation. And my God, they treat you like the marks you are. But I'm trying to get you out of the mark thing. I'm trying to get you out of the slave mentality, okay? And only I possess the red pill. So you better sign up to Jordan Shanks before I even give you any of my wisdom. Just trust me on that, especially if this is the first time that you've ever seen me in your life. But also, it's like, geez, why is this terrible haircut? Oh God, it's all terrible. See, now I realise that's a really good example of what we're talking about here, actually, and I meant to do that intentionally, obviously. It's still there, Jesus. No, but look, that's what happens. If you're in front of the internet all the time, what do? You just get extremely self-conscious. Why people are always saying, hey, Jordan, you had a spaghetti stain on your shirt, and I would say back to that, on Friendly Geordies, for instance, and I would say back to that, well, that's one of my better days then, isn't it? A lot of the time I go on with sweaty armpits. Sometimes I've got a booger in my nose and I just go up and talk. And you know why? Because I don't spend my time on the internet. Internet makes you self-conscious. Get that through your mush, digitized, half AI brains, Gen Z. But listen to this. You fucking mugs. Look, I did get something wrong the other day. I wrote it up as 75% of you are lonely. And it's nowhere near that high. It's 73%. I just didn't reread the article before I just started running my mouth. And so not to do that again, I've got it right here. Look at this. 74% of Zoomers, 74% of you. So what is that? That's almost 3/4. I'm just trying to break it. I don't know why they used to do that in ABC shows. You don't remember these Zoomers, but they always used to do that thing of just being like, 2/5. That's 40% of the population. It's like, maybe you should use something else. Like, I don't know, just something like, if you filled up a bunch of fat people in a pool, the pool would look like this. Right, okay. Sorry, we'll go back to this. I don't know, Jesus, I can talk about ADD. 74% of you Zoomers are spending your time, all your free time online. And all is not the correct word there, but you are spending your free time online. So, what is that? 26% of you are playing soccer now. The rest of you are sitting there playing FIFA. Look, my parents used to say the same thing as me. Go out and play some, actual games, have some actual experiences instead of catching Pokemon all day. And then me and my friend used to go outside and be like, let's pretend we're catching Pokemon. This is the thing that really scares me about the modern world, is that it destroys your creative streak. Neil Kolhatkar pointed this out in one of our podcasts ages ago, which was, if you go back and read letters from 19-year-olds from World War I writing back to their loved ones, brings a tear to your eye, and it's not even because the guy is about to die. That's a real secondary reason why you might even be crying. I certainly wasn't crying about it. I was crying because I was like, oh God, it's such beautiful poetry. It's just so well written. And now everything that you see now is just like, no cap, fell off, full sended, brrr. Is there anything else other than full sended? Are there any other options? That's all you can do. You either send it or you don't. What the fuck is full send? But that's what's happening there, right? Like, when you have the same source of information that everybody is getting their information from, everybody becomes dumber. Yeah? And I think another reason that they become dumber is not just the same source, it's also here's something that will take your attention and you don't have to think at all. And what happens when you don't think at all? You don't have to use your creative brain ever. So it just atrophies, it shrinks, it gets worse and worse and worse, which is why when you go to TikTok and you're just like, wow, that's the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life. Someone miming Aladdin. Yeah, there is no creative element to that whatsoever. That's the first thing that should really scare you, especially because every Zoomer wants to be like, oh, I want a creative job. Yeah, well, to have a creative job, you actually have to come up with new ideas. That's the first part. But the second thing is, have you noticed any correlation between 73% of Zoomers are lonely and 74% of Zoomers spend their time online, their free time online? So every free moment they have, they are cramming their mind with something that is showing them what to think and how to think. And then you look at the stats lower down here and look, it's pretty one-to-one. I think it's something along the lines of close to 50% of you, there we go, 42% say that social media affects how other people see them. And obviously that's just like remarkably high other to everybody else. Every other generation is way lower than that, way lower. Like even us, for instance, it's like in the 20s. But the other thing is as well, is there is a direct link to this. I can't remember where I read this before, but the more time that you spend on social media, how fucking scary is this? The more easily coerced you become. Now, doesn't that freak you out? So, Jonestown Massacre, where people always think, how could they all drink the red cordial and then kill themselves and their babies? Look, I'll tell you why. Because they had one source of information talking to them all the time, which is usually what happens in the internet. You just start segregating into small groups, and then you have your own little Jonestown, and I hope that yours is mine, and keep going to me, and don't listen to any other sources, especially ones that are critical of me. But actually, I do genuinely think that, and this is coming from a non-biased source, that I'm awesome. But that's what's happening to your brain. The more time that you spend on these things, the more time, and also on top of that, it's just like, what gets clicks every time? It's just like, oh my God, you didn't. This is what really angers me. And I am going to consciously do this, and I am continually consciously doing this. I know that people don't want to hear good things that the government is doing. I know that they don't want to hear that. They don't want to click on that. What they want to click on every time is just like, that's not fair. Oh, they did this wrong. Oh, the injustice of it all. But the world isn't like that, is it? Like, sometimes good things happen in the world. A lot of the time, very good things happen in the world, yeah? But everybody hyper-focuses on the negative, awful things. So that is your experience. That is how you are shaping and perceiving the world. So when you walk out, you're always just being like, they're all against me. Everybody sucks. I suck. Do I suck? Who am I? That's all you're thinking because you're spending so much time on this apparatus that is sitting there, designed to make the world worse than what it is. That is what is the incentive there. It definitely is. So you can see it in the views every time. Every time we ever do a negative story, every time we ever do a positive story. Even when we're doing this on the self-help channel, what's going to get more of the clicks? What are you clicking on right now? You're clicking on the thing of just being like, there's a problem with your generation. But every time I put something like, here's an inspirational story of a man that was paraplegic, but then he got a dog and then he was nice. So there'll be a couple of people being like, oh, that's cute, but not many. Not many. Not as many as there will be on this. So, that's your view of the world. That is your prism of the world. There is proof now to show that you are more likely to believe it because of social media, because of how authentic it is, in inverted commas. You are more likely to believe what you see on social media than you are even on mainstream television. Because when you go to social media and then you go back to mainstream television, what do you think every time? This is a joke. Why is the person on Channel 10 News speaking like this with this particular inflection in everything they say? Why are they doing that? It just looks so bizarre now because you're so used to seeing things that are authentic. But the other flip side to that is that a lot of people don't know what the fuck they're talking about. And everybody has a say now. And I know that is something that the mainstream media always uses as an accusation against social media. And I really can't talk because I made it a whole career, and I really do think that it is a tool that can get, societal beneficial messages out there. But let's be honest, most of it is just going to be co-opted by corporations, which is exactly what's happened already. Like the attitudes that you have, and I'm going to do an entire video about this, are very, very corporate attitudes as a whole generation. Maybe not you specifically, okay? You might be special. You might be one of the very few chosen ones. But in general, what's happening there? They are a very compliant generation. Now, What are the downsides of this compliance? What is it? So what's really happening here? Most of the compliance, this is what you can see in the studies. They're clearly just celebrating the fact that you are more compliant than other generations. They're just being like, fuck, it's easy to dupe these idiots. That's really what they're saying in the studies. You're easily duped. It's easy to get some corporate-funded message out there and just made spread like wildfire if you just understand like a couple of buttons of just going like, bleh, and then like, you know, you get a couple of seeded influencers to be like, oh my God, this product, and then everyone's like, oh my God, and it just spreads really quick like wildfire. But the other thing that I think is like terrifying about all of this, we're just talking about you as an individual here. What is terrifying is that one-to-one there. That is almost a one-to-one. That is a statistical anomaly, the fact that there is just a 1% difference between how many of you are lonely and how much of you spend your spare time on the internet. Now, like television, watching an hour a day may be a good thing. It'd probably be better if you just reduced it to 1 hour a week, obviously. But if you're spending, like a quarter of your generation is, 10 hours a day, 1 in 4 are spending 10 hours a day on their phones. That is a terrifying amount of time to be spent on something that is designed to suck you in and divert you into doing things that it wants you to do and robbing you of your own consciousness to the point that your generation especially, but everybody else as well, they've forgotten what it's like to just be with their own thoughts. You know how they're always just talking about in all of these dystopic books from the 20s that you might have studied or you probably didn't even pay attention because you Zoomers just have no attention span whatsoever. And I don't even know why I put the old man voice on. I actually do think that now because I am just getting to that age of just like, you goddamn get a job. But, yeah. You know, and all those ones are always just saying like, you know, in a dystopic society, the worst part is that you don't know what are your thoughts and what are implanted into your head, and you have no time to think them because they're always putting these stupid activities and things. You've voluntarily signed up for that dystopia. That's what's happened with your phone. If you are spending that much time on your phone, if you are not consciously locking yourself out of the phone, and look, I am saying this again because I need to keep reminding myself of this. Like, I'm very happy that I've been making these videos because like with all self-help, these are all reminders for myself as well. Yeah, I'm not perfect by any stretch of the imagination. As an e-celebrity, I did spend a fuckload of time on the internet, and now I spend no time on the internet at all, and I don't know what you people want anymore because I'm just so removed from the internet, so removed from it, which is, I suppose, the downside. But what am I missing out on, really? Misery. That's what you're missing out on if you spend come on, like, that... You're feeling lonely. What is the feeling of loneliness? Let's go through this again. What is the feeling of loneliness? If you are alone, you can really enjoy that time. That can be some of the most spiritually fulfilling time that you will ever have if you are sitting there by yourself with your thoughts, contemplating life. If you're feeling lonely, why are you feeling lonely? FOMO. You're feeling like you're missing out in life because you are watching all of these like babes on boats being like, yay. But the thing is, the reality of this situation is obviously, right? Like, you look at those babes in real life, they're nowhere near as hot as they are in their photos. It's all just, it's basically just CGI at this point. But then on top of that, do you really want to be around the bunch of douchebags on that boat as well? And then when you actually meet them, how many of those like babes do you think are, remotely engaging, remotely good people if they're just constantly being like, boat, yes, fuck yes, I am standing on a surface, but it's on the water. Jealous? No. No, I'm not. And you know why I'm not jealous? Because I don't look at that shit all day. But I bet you if I did, I'd just be like, oh my God, they've got such good tits. But that's the only reason that you feel like you're missing out, because you are on an app that is designed to make you feel like you are missing out all the time, so you just keep sticking to it. This is how Marketing 101 works. If you do an advertising firm, what is the whole thing about? Like, if you do an advertising degree, what is the advertisement all about? Like, the entire industry. It is about finding a pain that you have or inventing a pain that you didn't know that you had. You know, like even just this, like, do you have, as a slight thing, do you have a mild headache? Yes, everyone has mild headaches from time to time. Get this pill, right? Like, just the simplest of that. Get that pill now, you won't have the headache. Maybe, but what are the side effects? What are you telling me in this? So it's just all disingenuous. It's all just about making you feel like shit. And the only way that you can get that is if you get this product. But there are endless of those products. So there's just all these ideas competing for your attention, trying to make you feel like shit. And it's reflected in the stats. And that's all I'm saying. Now, here's the good news. The good news is, if you are able to wrangle yourself out of this hell like Bane, I don't know, the guy from Batman 3, not the Zoomer Batman, the Gen Y Batman, the good one, the one that has that really annoying mouth. Oh, my name's Christian Bale. Not a very good impersonation of the mouth, but you get what I'm saying. His mouth's kind of small and looks like they went around the twist guy got his mouth shrunk. But while he removed himself out of the hole, that's what you're going to do with your social media habits. And the reason that you are going to do that with your social media habits is because, as I'm saying, you are in a generation of zombies. And if you want to have any of those jobs that when you're ever interviewed about I wanted to be like creative and fulfilling and things, well, the very first thing that you can do is to actually have a normal functioning brain. You are at a marked advantage just on that. As I'm always saying on this channel, if you are able to break out of this semi-quasi matrix, such an advantage just on that one merit. Everyone will think, oh my God, how smart are you? You know what? Someone actually once wrote that on the Neil and Jordan podcast as one of the comments. They were saying, oh my God, what the hell? Jordan, he's just kind of this node of information that's always just directing me in places. How does he do it? And then somebody wrote at the bottom, because he reads for a couple of hours a day. Yes, that's how I do it. There is a reason that Bill Gates reads for 2 hours a day. The reason that he reads for 2 hours a day is because he knows that it is a superpower in this day and age. When everything else is so much easier, so much simpler, and human beings will always go to whatever is the most easy thing, the most expendable thing in front of them. If you are able to put in a little more discipline, first off, you will enjoy it more, and it actually advances and improves your life. This is what I'm saying. The number one thing you can do is reduce the amount of time that you are gaming and watching superfluous internet shit. Even if you're just having normal life experiences, how much better is that? Tell me that this isn't true. I love this example. Once Mrs. Phone broke, and then he was just talking about how the rest of his day was like he was 12 again. Because he's just been spending so much time at it, and he's just like, oh, I remember what the birds sound like. He's having real life experiences. He's actually interacting with the world instead of having this mask in front of him, which is something else that you hear about as well, right? Like, if you interview people, isn't this incredible? If you interview people on why they think they need to keep their phone. Remember how we were talking about how phones are kind of just this spear, modern day spear that people use as like a protection, like a little security blanket, being like, I feel mildly awkward. That's their Panadol now. Just like, my little emotions of, I don't know this person. That's the same as a headache now. Oh, no, I know. That's my friend. There's a picture of my friend. And they're not even my friend. I've seen them on screens before, and I look at them so much that I think they're my friend. God, the future is scary, isn't it? People will come up with different justifications for why they are using the phone. So women will always say, hey, how do they connect better? Because they've got the estrogen brain, right? What do testosterone people say about when they're keeping their phone in front of them? Helps me navigate. And you see it every time. Every time there's anyone there saying, nah, Geordies, you got a wrong smartphones. You just have to get rid of some of the apps. But it's always really good for navigation. Look at it, guy. Every time, always I use it as a calculator. No, you don't. See, this is the thing. They always have this justification in their mind for why they need it. You don't need it. What you need is a properly functioning human brain. That's going to get you a little further in life. Now, if you want to upgrade your brain, here's something. Talk about predatory marketing. Sign up to Jordan Shanks, and I will, guaranteed, improve your brain. I am the greatest masterclass plus. See, I'm not doing it in English, am I? But I do have so many tricks, so many things. Like one of the ones that I was talking about recently, these are the kind of life hacks that I'm talking about. Isn't this incredible? Just as a little advertising tip, right? I was talking about this one technique that you can use where you have a habit that you want to get rid of. But you're not fully committed to getting rid of it. You want that nice little easy interim period thing where it's kind of like, I don't know, say you know, like a really good example is if you enjoy smoking, you're not going to get rid of smoking. No matter how much you always say, I'm going to quit, you like doing it, right? This is the trick that you use when you know for a fact that you enjoy it. And that drastically reduces your bad habit. And what happens when you drastically reduce your bad habit? It is replaced with a bunch of good habits. That is just one of the tricks that I have behind on the paywall at Jordan Shanks. So make sure that you sign up. You can get 1 to 2 extra videos a week. I think Jim Rohn is the basic one for all of you people that just want to have a mediocre life, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But for you real winners out there that want to have 2, you got to go to the Wayne diet here, baby. And then we'll all win together like the many people that write into me all the time saying that their life has been permanently changed by Jordan Shanks. Thank you very much for signing up.